With me now is Senator John Wacka Williams. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, Callum.
Now, modelling released today shows that the budget deficit has worsened by $51 billion due to a combination of the Senate blocking the government's budget and falling iron ore prices and commodity prices. Is it a debt and deficit disaster?
Well, it's a problem, and I've said for years, even to some Labor Senate colleagues before the last election, that whoever wins government, there will be a problem with the budget. We've got Europe in some places in a state of deflation. We've got Japan, very slow economy, has been for a long time. With commodity prices falling, especially iron ore and coal, of course that's less revenue for the government. And then we've got the problem of not being able to get savings through the Senate because of the crossbenchers and the Labor Party, and some of those savings, about $5 billion, were savings that the Labor Party introduced, and now they won't back them. So we've got to get the budget in order. It's a gig, and no doubt my EFO will show that when it's released, probably next month, I believe. And we just can't go on mortgaging our children's futures away. It will mean, in my opinion, trying our best to get those who are escaping corporate tax, such as Apple and Google have been accused of that. Google set up in Ireland, and they may need more spending cuts, in my opinion. But we can't just go and keep and borrow and borrow. Callum, what legacy are we going to leave future generations if we have them wallowing in debt? That is simply wrong.
We'll get to the issue of corporate tax avoidance in a sec, but I want to ask you, how difficult do you think it will be for the government to reach its budget forecast? Do you think there is a risk that it'll take longer to climb out of deficit?
Well, that will be the risk if commodity prices do not improve, if tax income keeps falling for the government, for the tax office. If that continues to decline, then of course be a problem. But that's why we're so determined to remove red tape and costs off business, grow jobs, get more and more people off unemployment and into work, so that we not only save paying them unemployment benefits, but actually collect tax off them. It's a double windfall. So that's why we're so determined to grow the economy through the private sector and see that we have the best economy possible, which in turn does bring more revenue into Canberra and saves Canberra costs.
How confident are you that the government will meet its deficit forecasts?
Well, it's going to be tough. I'll make no secret about that, and in my opinion it's going to be very tough, but Joe Hockey is doing his absolute best with a recalcitrant Senate in many cases who are not helping us get our savings in place. They will be responsible to many degrees if the budget is blown out in my EFO, because we've got savings there that the Senate won't give us, and that's just crazy. So they will take responsibility, the Labor Party and some of the crossbenchers, for not allowing those savings to be put in place as we budgeted last May.
Shouldn't the government take responsibility for its budget? I mean, in opposition, the opposition accused Labor of not doing enough to bring the budget into balance when it was facing similar deteriorating global conditions.
Well, of course the government is responsible for our budget. We are responsible. But what is inhibiting our changes and our savings is the Labor Party and the crossbenchers, but also we can't determine world prices on minerals, especially if the price of iron ore drops substantially, along with coal, both steaming coal and coking coal. We can't control that. That is the case of demand overseas, demand and supply and the balance of that. So they're out of our control, and so we're doing our utmost to see this budget is put into the black as soon as possible, but some elements are running against us.
You mentioned corporate tax avoidance. Do you think the government has done enough to date to address this issue?
You should be asking Senator Bill Heffernan this question. Bill's been on about this for a long time, about the big end of town evading tax, and I agree with him. We've got to do everything we can to see that those who earn money in Australia pay that tax in Australia, whether it's transfer pricing, whether it's shifting their profits overseas. And of course, this will no doubt come up at the G20 in the very near future. But we need to capture that income tax that is earned in Australia. It should be paid in Australia, so those companies pay their way here, not overseas.
And do you think the government's acted quickly enough on this issue, or do you think they've been too slow to act?
Well, you're never quick enough. I mean, when you see people and companies evading tax, when is quick enough? Last year, the year before, not enough has been done in this area, and that's why Joe Hockey has a big challenge in front of him to see that he gets international agreement and policies put in place to capture these people, these companies, so they pay their tax here. Yeah, we can always do more, but this is an issue now that's been highlighted very much in the party room, I can assure you, around the corridors of Canberra, and thanks to the media. So we really need to clamp down on those who are evading tax. It's not fair. They're not paying their bit, and they've got to pay their bit.
It's a tough job, though, isn't it? It's not easy addressing this issue.
Oh, no, it's not easy. There's all, when you bring in one set of laws or new laws to capture those who are evading tax, clever accountants might find another little roadway to get around it. So you're trying to block every hole, and another hole appears, but it's something that's got to be done. As I said, they earn it here, they've got to pay it here.
Just finally, a Senate committee has recommended that both parties grant their members a free vote on euthanasia. So can I ask you, do you support being given a free vote on this issue, and would you likely vote for euthanasia or against it?
Well, when it comes to free votes, we actually have that in the National Party and the Liberal Party, Callum. It is the Labor Party that if you vote against your party policy, you get kicked out of your party. So I think that recommendation is directed to the Labor Party especially. I have a free vote wherever I vote. It's up to me. Of course, 99.9% of the time I vote with my party and with my coalition parties. This is a contentious issue, sensitive issue, and a religious issue. I personally will not support it, but I have no problem with a conscience vote on this issue of euthanasia. Allow those to vote as they please, but I will not be voting for it.
Okay, Senator, thanks for your time.
Good to chat to you as always. Thanks, Callum.